The prevailing geopolitical situation has created a ripple in the energy market. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia has also affected the gas market. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi earlier this year, while addressing the Indian Energy Week, had said that his government is working on a mission mode to increase the natural gas consumption in the energy mix from the prevailing 6% to 15% by 2030. But is the country ready for this? Is what we discuss in the latest edition of Energonomics. The large-scale switch from crude oil to natural gas has many issues: affordability, supply, pricing, which remains a very significant component of shifting to this source of energy. The total gas demand is around 160 million standard cubic meter. Only 50% of this demand is met through domestic production. Currently, India depends on locally produced gas, both conventional and unconventional, as well as liquefied natural gas or LNG shipments. We also have different pricing regime, both for domestic as well as imported gas. The head of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board, Anil Jain, at a recent conference said, and I quote, "The persistent dichotomy between domestic and imported gas, which is splitting the market, must be dismantled for the sake of a cohesive natural gas industry." I spoke to Anil Jain to understand this issue.
India's energy markets are very price sensitive. Our dependence on imported energy sources to almost 1/3 of our commercial energy is imported. So imported energy comes at international prices, and it is well known, even at G20 fora, India and many developing countries have been raising this voice, that the international energy markets are opaque. There is no reason that at the slightest pretext of maybe a war or a disruption of any physical kind, oil shoots up from $65, $75, $70 to $100 plus. The imported gas supply, its prices have also, spiraled, very well. They even went up to $40 a million BTU in Europe, which, in India, otherwise the domestic gas prices were $6, $7. Now, in the light of that, the government has been administering the price of the domestic gas, especially on the legacy fields. The government has been shielding, let's say, the vulnerable section, let us say the farmers. So the price of gas sold to fertilizer, the price of gas sold to power plant on the same lines as the controlled price of coal, has been contained. Now, quickly going forward to what I spoke at the FICCI auditorium, that now the conditions are ripe for government to gradually start getting away from administering the price to the CGD sector particularly. Now conditions are becoming conducive, for raising the share of gas in the energy mix. And one of the first steps that we need to do is to gradually align the price of gas with the market price gas.
The issue has been ailing the industry for a while. I spoke to Kenneth Fu, Associate Pricing Director, APSC LNG, S&P Global Commodity Insights, about this. He said that average gas market pricing doesn't reflect imported LNG realities nor domestic gas market fundamentals. This, he added, created transactional difficulties across the gas value chain.
The way forward is for market determined pricing of energy so that there are no distortions. When you artificially determine a particular price, then you deny the demand responses to come in. And it invariably that is the way to settle the demand and supply mismatches. To give you an example, there is this place called Morbi in Gujarat, where there are a whole lot of refractories and tile making, and they consume a considerable amount of gas in their kilns. Now, since they get market price gas, if the market price gas becomes much more expensive than the alternate fuel, which is LPG, then they shift to LPG. Now, it helps to moderate the demand, and in the larger picture, play of economics, where you have learned that the demand and supply curves. So, I don't want to underline too much the importance of the market determined prices, helping the demand and supply to achieve a level. Now, when you say that are the Indian conditions conducive or right for the markets to start playing a role, it's always difficult to move away from a historical, development to a new scenario in a bullet shot. Now, if you wish to migrate from the administered pricing mechanism, especially in CGD or gas, to a market determined one, maybe the government can come out with a 5 year or a 3 year or a 4 year, a phased program.
In a recent order, the Ministry for Petroleum and Natural Gas restricted the supply of high pressure, high temperature gas to the segments it will go to. It created a priority list. It will be sold to city gas distribution segment, fertilizer, power, and finally for LPG. So, in short, the government has created a price cap. Most of this gas will be supplied under this cap. This not only distorts the market but also de incentivizes the natural gas industry. We can already see this happening. LNG imports dropped 19% year on year to 19.71 million ton in 2022. This was also the lowest LNG import level since 2017. LNG imports in the first 6 months of 2023 was at 10.1 million ton, even lower than the same period last year. Tax is another issue which affects the market. In this case, too, the local levies and taxes distort the gas market.
The mother of the taxation problem lies in its non inclusion in the GST. So, that is something, of course, which is a common denominator across the states. Now, coming to the specific question of interstate disparities, yes, it is a fact that the rates of VAT vary hugely across the states. So that endeavor PNGRB also makes, and so does the ministry. And some states, have been proactive to moderate the rates of taxes on natural gas. Recently, we also have noticed that another major, tax burden on the CGDs is something which is not done at the state level, but which has been done by municipalities, is the road cutting charges, which are usurious in many cases. So that is an endeavor which we have taken upon ourselves in the past several months.
There is a consensus building that with the growing demand, there could be a tilt towards imported gas unless these challenges are not corrected. Clearly, supply is not the issue. The side is taken care of, but what needs to be corrected is the distortion in the pricing mechanism. Can we do it? Yes, we can, if there is a political will.